Don't address trolls. Ignore the drama when it has nothing to do with you. They want to pull you into things that don't matter.
Do you guys remember Gamergate? If you're uninitiated in this topic, then Gamergate, it was this movement that began in, I think, 2014, maybe 2015. I think it was 2014. It was a big response to the whole woke feminist movement. So, or within journalism, right? So woke feminism within journalism. So essentially what happened was journalists for like big gaming websites like Kotaku, they started just insulting and belittling their own community, the community of gamers, right? So their audience. So feminists like Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Wu, Zoe Quinn, and other journalists began acting like they were in some sort of, ivory tower, calling their own audience trolls, misogynists, incels, and all the rest of it. So Anita Sarkeesian did this series of videos called Tropes Against Women in Video Games. I think that's what it's called. And she raised like hundreds of thousands of dollars to produce it. From what I remember, and there was a lot of controversy over that. But anyway, gamers really took this kind of personally, and they kind of pushed back against the journalists and the influencers. Sargon of Akkad, Thunderfoot, Chris Raygun, there was a few others that were the really notable YouTubers who joined kind of the, what do they call it, the skeptics after that. Sargon and Thunderfoot specifically made really extensive debunks of Anita Sarkeesian and all the rest of them, and so that to me is where the war between audience and influencers really started. So let's fast forward to 2021. Early in this year, notable journalist and podcaster, our good buddy Tim Pool, sent out a few tweets talking about how online anonymity causes problems. His point was that if you take away online anonymity, the trolls disappear. Thus, he says people should unmask themselves and you shouldn't engage with someone who doesn't have their name and their photo on their profile. Lots of people disagreed with this take because online anonymity actually allows people to speak their mind. And if you have like a real life career, it's very hard to speak your mind if you have any kinds of spicy or hot takes. So you can't really take that from people. So then let's go to the end of 2021 with the whole Jack Murphy scandal. When Jack came onto Tim's show to defend himself, the super chats demanding accountability were dismissed as trolls. Jack was given softballs. He did not address any of the larger issues here. He basically just was like, we did crazy things, like crazy kinky things after we got divorced. That was it. Tim has refused to hold Jack Murphy accountable or even address the situation in any way, although for weeks now his comment section and all of his live chats have been just overflowing with comments, chats, super chats, all of this about the issue. So then yesterday he made this video talking about ignoring trolls. So this was in a different context, but a lot of people think that video is Tim tacitly addressing the Murphy drama. Tim rags on the Democrats for incessantly just, being hypocrites. And he's recently been going after CNN a lot because the horrific things that their journalists, producers, and staff on the different shows did. So Tim, how can you make these accusations with a straight face while refusing to own up to this issue on your own show? He claims that he's not here to talk about drama, yet he spent a lot of time on last night's IRL show covering the Rogan and Klein drama, Joe Rogan and Ethan Klein, their little spat, and he covered the Patton Oswalt, Dave Chappelle drama in a video yesterday. He covered the AOC drama. He always covers CNN drama. He's been the loudest voice on the Alec Baldwin situation. I could go on, but how is this any different, Tim? How is the drama around your own channel different from the drama around somebody else? You're not being consistent here. You're being a hypocrite. Again, the clip that I shared at the start of this video, that's from a video regarding Dave Chappelle and Patton Oswalt. But if you go to the Tim Pool subreddit, you'll see a whole lot of people saying this was a tacit way of Tim speaking about the Jack Murphy thing. And this is also fairly consistent with the things Tim was saying on the show where he had Jack Murphy on. So there's that. Here is the point. When influencers build themselves up to a certain point, their principles and values seem to change. They convince themselves that what they're doing is good and right, and in order to do more good, they must reach more people, right? But in order to reach more people, they must play the algorithm game. And so they become far more focused on growing the audience, making money, and providing influence than they do about making a principled stand or any kind of intellectually honest content. And something else happens as well. Principled takes are not often popular, right? And that's because being principled often requires making difficult decisions. Influencers become milquetoast and middle of the road and bland as their audience gets bigger and broader, as they're trying to appease the sensibilities of everyone in the audience. And there's two ways that this can really happen. First of all, the audience can hold you captive. So this is something where I guess you could think about maybe Bernie Sanders is a good example of this. So when he was running, he had, a whole lot of left-wing people with the whole Bernie or bust crowd. And when he endorsed, first Clinton, and when he endorsed Clinton, he had everyone just like, dude, what happened here? Bernie flipped on us. And so he lost a bunch of the Bernie bros and they went to Trump instead. So if an influencer becomes scared of losing the audience, they can completely lose their way and just bow down to every single whim because they don't want to happen to them the same thing that happened to Bernie when he endorsed Hillary Clinton. So they just follow what the most vocal part of the audience tells them to do. Like, my content's only going to reflect, what these very, very vocal few people say, right? And they do that because they're scared of losing what they have. But the second thing that might happen, and this one's more relevant, I think, the ego gets to the influencer. So once they start to like hearing their own voice, and instead of having a conversation, the dynamic between the influencer and the audience becomes the same as like a preacher and followers, right? This is the most dangerous type of relationship, I think. So what happens here is people become enamored with an influencer because this person is telling them what and how to think. Then some scandal happens. So like the Jack Murphy thing. And a portion of the audience, usually the longest standing fans who like the influencer from the beginning for their principled stances, become disillusioned and they leave. But here's the problem. People go from that first influencer to another, from one to the next, trying to find that perfect person who's going to articulate and voice opinions and views that are most congruent with those that they themselves espouse. They start to shape their thoughts based on what this influencer is saying, and then another inevitable scandal erupts, ruining the perceptions once again, and they have to go find another influencer. In my opinion, there is only truly one cure for this. In an internet age where online alternative media consistently just morphs into a new wing of corporate and mainstream media with insider deals, the underhanded friendships, profit as the center goal, it's absolutely necessary for the political and cultural conversation to become a discourse between people. Enough with the influencers, we need leaders, right? Leaders who are going to give the audience a voice, argue, and discuss important topics. So not only give the audience a voice, but stand up to the audience and say, look, I think you're wrong. Tell me your perspective, right? They can discuss the important topics, stay in touch with what people are talking about, and influencers are really equipped to do this. They don't go out and touch the grass often enough. I was told that on Reddit, I need to go touch the grass because I'm so hyper-focused on Jack Murphy. It's like, I'm not hyper-focused on Jack Murphy. That's not the point. What I'm talking about right now is the point. If you can have something that's smaller, slower, with more intentional discourse, this is the only way forward to keep the alternative media from becoming CNN 2.0. We must hold influencers accountable, and influencers must be open to being held accountable. You can follow me on Twitter at SeattleiteJ. Come join the live stream tonight. We're discussing this and a few other issues. I'm planning to have a guest tonight for the first time ever. One of the sources for the leaked Jack Murphy file dump is planning to come on and discuss audio files and other files that we can't share because they might be used to dox people. We will also just have a fun time talking with the chat, and we'll see where it goes. So we'll see you at the live stream at 7 p.m. Pacific time.